It's 3 in the morning, the house is completely silent, and you are barely conscious, hovering in that heavy space between deep sleep and the reality of a new day. Then you hear it. A grunt, a soft whimper, or maybe even a giggle coming from the bassinet. Your first instinct, the one wired into your very DNA, is to leap out of bed, scoop them up, and try to fix whatever is wrong. But what if I told you that by rushing in at that exact moment, you might actually be the reason your child keeps waking up? Today, we're going to talk about the one thing you need to do before bedtime and during those quiet night hours to finally help your child stop waking up at night. We're going to peel back the curtain on the extraordinary neurological events happening inside your baby's brain and look at the simple human shifts you can make to give both of you the rest you deserve. The secret of the noisy sleeper. To understand how to stop the wake-ups, we first have to understand what sleep actually looks like for a baby. If you're expecting your newborn to look like a peaceful, unmoving angel while they sleep, you're in for a surprise. In reality, a sleeping newborn is extremely noisy. They grunt, they cry out, they smile, they frown, and they move their little limbs constantly. As adults, when we enter REM sleep, the stage where we dream, our bodies experience something called sleep paralysis, which keeps us from acting out our dreams. But newborns don't experience this paralysis yet. This means they are physically active during their most intense periods of brain development. This is the do this moment. The next time your little one makes a noise at 2 or 3 a.m., wait a few seconds. Don't rush in immediately. If you pick them up as soon as they grunt or whimper, you might accidentally be interrupting a perfectly healthy sleep cycle. You're essentially waking them up when they were actually still asleep. By giving them just a moment, you'll often find they resettle themselves and drift right back into a deeper sleep. Trust yourself. You will quickly learn to tell the difference between a REM sleep noise and a fully awake and needs me cry. Creating the cave. If we want our children to sleep longer, we have to look at their environment. In the first few weeks, a baby will fall asleep almost anywhere because their sleep is driven by pure sleep pressure. But around the 6 to 8 week mark, things change. They become more aware of the world and their bodies start producing tiny amounts of melatonin, the sleepy hormone. At this point, the environment becomes everything. There are 3 key features your baby's room needs to have to prevent unnecessary wake-ups. Total darkness. The room needs to be dark enough that you can't read a book. This isn't just for nighttime, it's for naps too. Darkness helps neutralize distractions and encourages the brain to keep producing melatonin. The perfect temperature. We often worry about our babies being cold, but a room that is too hot can be just as disruptive. Aim for a temperature between 65 degrees Fahrenheit or 18 to 21 degrees Celsius. If the room is outside this range, your baby is much more likely to wake up between sleep cycles. The shield of white noise. Newborns are used to the constant rhythmic whooshing of the womb. A quiet house can actually be too quiet, making every creak of the floorboard or sound of the TV downstairs a potential startle that wakes them up. Using a white noise machine, something that sounds like radio static or a waterfall, creates a consistent sound barrier. It blocks out the real world and helps them link their sleep cycles together. One of the biggest mistakes we make as parents is trying to keep a baby awake longer during the day in the hopes they'll sleep better at night. It sounds logical, right? If they're tired enough, they'll surely crash. Unfortunately, it works the exact opposite way for babies under 4 months old. When a baby stays awake too long, their body enters a fight or flight mode. They release cortisol and adrenaline, stimulating hormones that make them stressed and wired. An overtired baby is a parent's biggest challenge. They will find it incredibly difficult to settle down, and even when they do fall asleep, they are much more likely to rouse and wake up frequently throughout the night. The solution is to watch for early tired signs. Don't wait for the crying. Look for loss of interest in toys or people, staring blankly into the distance, jerky body movements, or becoming unusually still, yawning, rubbing their eyes, or pulling at their ears. As soon as you see these signs, that is your window. Put them to bed then. For babies under 4 months, this awake window is usually only 45 to 120 minutes. If they had a short nap, they'll be ready to sleep again much sooner than you think. The 6-week diaper hack. If you want to minimize nighttime wake-ups, you have to minimize stimulation. Around 6 weeks of age, something wonderful happens. Newborns start doing fewer poops overnight. This is a game changer. You do not need to change your baby's diaper after every wee. Diaper changes are incredibly stimulating. The cold air, the wiping, and the movement all tell the baby's brain, hey, it's time to be awake. Instead, do this. Apply a thick layer of barrier cream before bed to protect their skin, and if they're prone to leaking, go up 1 diaper size for nighttime use. This extra padding absorbs more moisture and allows you to leave the diaper change until the morning. Unless they have pooped, leave the diaper alone and keep the lights low. The less you wake them during a feed or a check-in, the faster they will drift back to sleep. The 3 a.m. mystery. Laughing at nothing. Have you ever woken up at 3 a.m. to the sound of your baby laughing? Not just a little smile, but a full, delighted belly laugh while they're staring at a dark corner of the ceiling. It can be a little unsettling. Some parents wonder if their house is haunted or if the baby is seeing something spiritual, but the science is actually much more fascinating. Between 3 and 5 a.m., REM sleep density is at its absolute peak in infants. During this time, the baby's brain is running spontaneous neural activation. They are essentially building the roads between their 100 billion neurons. Because their brains don't yet filter incoming signals the way ours do, they are in a state where they are simultaneously awake and dreaming. They are seeing the room, but they are also seeing the internal patterns, the fireworks of their own mind projected onto the walls. They might see a shadow that their hyperactive face detection system identifies as a friendly face, and they laughed because their brain just updated its model of the world. If you hear this, smile. Your baby isn't haunted. They are experiencing a form of consciousness we've lost the ability to access. It's a sign of a healthy, rapidly developing mind. The alert brain and the sleep struggle. Some of you might be watching this and thinking, my baby is just different. They've been wide awake and alert since the day they were born. There is actually a link between high cognitive potential and irregular sleep patterns. Highly active brains take longer to wind down. The same neural networks used for learning and problem solving don't just switch off because the lights went out. These gifted babies often stare intently at objects for long periods. This is deep pattern analysis. They get bored with toys quickly because they process information faster. They are unusually sensitive to the emotional tone in the room. If you have an alert baby, you might need to be even more diligent about the cave we discussed earlier. Their brains are looking for data everywhere, so you have to make the room as boring as possible to allow them to finally rest. The daytime connection, movement, and containers. Believe it or not, how your baby spends the day directly impacts how they sleep at night. We live in a world of containers, strollers, car seats, bouncers, and swings. They're convenient, and we all use them. But container hopping, moving a baby from one device to another all day, limits their ability to move freely. Babies need to wiggle, kick, and reach to strengthen their muscles and develop spatial awareness. This physical work is what builds the healthy exhaustion needed for deep sleep. Prioritize floor play. Even just a few extra minutes of tummy time or lying on their back to track a toy helps their core strength and neck control. The more they can explore their physical limits during the day, the more ready their body will be to rest at night. The bedtime reset. Finally, we need to talk about expectations. If your baby is under 3 months old, they naturally have a late bedtime, often 10 or 11 p.m. Trying to force a 7 p.m. bedtime too early will often result in a false start, where the baby treats it like a nap and wakes up an hour later ready to play. Around the 3-month mark, you'll notice their bedtime naturally starts to creep forward as their circadian rhythm begins to take over from pure sleep pressure. When that happens, you'll see those beautiful longer stretches of sleep, maybe 5 hours at a time before they wake for a feeding.
You're doing an amazing job. You'll get some sleep. And in the meantime, you're a lucky witness to the most extraordinary process in the universe, the activation of human consciousness. Thanks for watching this video. Here's another one that I know will help you a lot.